Hello again, and welcome to the Matt Black podcast. We're up to episode 21. Today's guest is Catherine Rannus. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
This is the first time I've done a morning podcast before, and I was quite conscious. I've got those lines from the pillow on my face still, and they're not going anywhere. And I thought, could I put a hat on? And it's like, no, because it's going to have to go over my face. And I can't sit here with a balaclava on, because we're blessed with the sun today.
Yeah.
For, I don't know, what it feels like forever. It's weird. We normally get a summer in the UK, but we don't know what weekend it's going to fall on, do we?
Exactly.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I love this sunshine. I think it's great, and I've been up a long time.
Yeah. So is that school runs and things like that? I'm going to guess.
Yes. Yeah. 3 kids. Well, they're all in high school now, so I don't usually take them, but it's GCSE week this week.
Oh, pressure.
So, yeah.
Is there tears in the house?
No, she's gliding through. I don't think she's that bothered. She don't want to do academic things. So.
Well, yeah, I've seen online. We're going to touch on that at some point, but actually, you've started it now. So there's talent that runs through the family, isn't there, in your house? By the looks of it.
I'm not sure. Are you including me in that?
Of course.
So I married a guitarist. Is that?
You've got that as well.
Yeah.
And I believe your daughter's been performing.
Yeah, so this is the
theatre?
eldest, yeah, and she's got into Kappa College. So and that's a creative arts and performing arts college. So yeah, she's really into theatre. She's played Roxy Hart in Chicago just recently. She's been in 6. So yeah, definitely that's what she wants to do.
So there'll be old people looking now, going like, "When's she going to get a proper job?"
People still look at me.
That's
going,
So, for anyone that's having a little look in and you're not aware of Catherine's background, you play. I was going to say that you're a sax player, but you're not just a sax player, are you? You've got many strings to the bow.
Yeah, except strings. I don't play any strings.
It's got no strings to the bow.
No strings. Piano's my first instrument.
Right.
Played since I was 4, then flute when I was 8. And then I sing a bit, and I didn't pick sax up till I was 20. So I never thought I'd play it professionally, actually. I just took it up for fun because I was falling out of music a little bit. So I thought, well, that'd be more fun to play than a piano, because piano's really hard.
It's easier to carry as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Although you can't put a drink on a saxophone.
No.
So what set you off down that path then, learning musical instruments? Who did you see, or what did you hear?
My Auntie Kathleen had a piano. She played piano, and she taught me, like, for a long, long time, up until about grade 5 or 6, I think. And then she was like, "Catherine, you need to get a proper teacher now." No, let's just play.
They're not going to let you do what you want anymore.
Yeah, no, you're too good. You've got to do grade 6, 7 and 8.
Did you go through all the grades then on the piano?
I did. I'd got grade 8 piano and flute when I was 15. And then I went to Barnsley College and did a BTEC in pop music. Then I went to Leeds Music College, and I were on the classical course, piano first instrument, flute second. But I decided I didn't know what I was doing with music, because I didn't want to be a concert pianist. Like, I weren't that good. And I just didn't know what I was doing at all. And I thought, I'm just going to have to be a teacher. And the only musicians I knew personally were teachers. So I didn't really know if you could make a living out of music or anything. Anyway, I was in a really bad place, and I was crying every day to the head of Leeds College of Music. He went, "Why don't you try the jazz course?" I'm like, "I don't like jazz. I can't even play jazz."
Gives me a headache.
My parents don't like jazz either. They're not going to like it practicing. Anyway, I gave it a go, and it was really hard, and I hated it, but I did it. And I just learned so much. I'm so glad I persevered, because it was really hard. And I was the bottom of the class, hands down. And that's when, and so I was surrounded by all these amazing sax players. I'm like, I wish I could play sax. That is so cool. And it just must be a little bit easier than piano. Because piano is like, for jazz piano, it's got to be the hardest instrument because of all the harmony. And sometimes you're having to play the bass line and the harmony and the melody. So you're doing like the job of 3 instruments, and it's just really hard.
But so is saxophone. It's like you clocked the saxophone in the corner when you came in here, and you said, "Oh, play sax," and I was like, "Well, I bought one 8ish, maybe a bit longer, years back, and thought, oh, I want to play the bendy sex whistle, you know, and it's I think it's really difficult, you know, like to get like a basic chord, like fingers are all over the place, and it's like on a guitar, I'm like, cool, I've only got to worry about this hand and I'm just going to strum. That's my chord. Sometimes you can get away with using 1 to 3 fingers. I'm like, every finger's in action here, and it's behind it as well. It's places I can't see. It's fully from like muscle memory, isn't it? You can't because you can't move your mouth away to have a look because it's stuck up there.
No, and if you're a visual learner, you know, when you're thinking of scales and stuff, you can't see the notes you're going to play. It's all feel, which is weird when you come from maybe a guitar, but definitely piano, because you can see all the notes you want to play in this improvisation. You can see them and touch them. I
think that's why I just stopped and put it in storage for such a long time, because I'm a visual learner as well, and I kind of like when I'm like, because I used to do beginner guitar lessons for kids and stuff, and half of the time I'd sometimes have a 1 second delay telling them where the fingers went on the fretboard, because I'm just remembering the shape, because you just don't think about it. I'm too busy lost in what I'm singing along with, and then I'm like, oh, actually, what the hell am I playing? I'm meant to look back and check it out. But what would you say were like the biggest challenges when you were starting playing sax early doors?
Squeaking.
Yeah.
Well, because I'd played flute, I weren't that bad with the fingering, but the squeaking was horrific. And I'd got this tenor sax with a metal mouthpiece, because that was the tone that all the jazzers were playing. I wanted this tone, so metal mouthpiece. I'd got I acquired a Selmer saxophone, which is an amazing saxophone, and then I ended up getting a plastic mouthpiece as a beginner because I was just squeaking horrifically. And I'm not even kidding. It took like 10 years to get good.
Really?
Yeah, it did.
I ain't got time. I don't think I'm going to live 10 years longer, so...
Just to get the tone. Like, I never thought I'd do it professionally. If you'd have told me that'd be my main instrument in, 20 years' time. It has taken 20 years to get really, really good. Yeah, I just thought I'll do it for fun and I'll play in the big band. So I joined a big band, an amateur big band on tenor sax, because it wasn't very good. But yeah, I have got better.
Well, you never stop improving, do you?
No.
Another 20 years, you imagine.
I'm going to be amazing.
Yeah. Might not be able to stand up, but
I'll be playing.
I suppose that's the nicer thing about like when it's big band stuff. I think like you can hide a little bit because you think, well, I'll just play a little bit quieter and just blend in with everyone else. But then sometimes if you're the only one, I think, you makes you stand out like a sore thumb if you're doing something slightly off and everyone else is pitch perfect. Yeah,
you're really exposed. Yeah, and when I joined the big band, I was like second tenor. So I did need to play softer than everybody else and just blend. And I liked it there. But then the piano player left and we couldn't get a pianist.
Right.
And everyone went, Catherine, piano. Oh, my God. Big band piano is really, really hard.
Yeah.
Again, it is the hardest instrument in the band, I swear. But normally I'm back on tenor 1. Got promoted.
All right.
So normally I'm playing tenor 1 in that same big band. But we have got a gig coming up. I do dep on keys when we need to, because big band pianists are really hard to come by.
Right.
Because it's so hard.
I always find that about like keyboard players. It's hard to find keyboard players. They're either settled in one band or no one knows they exist because they never leave the bedroom. There's so many keyboard players, and every now and then someone will put a video online. I think they're exposing themselves a little bit more in this modern world and like showing people that, I never realised you play keyboard. And like, do you want to join a band? No, I'm not going outside. No chance. That's the kind of across the board that I see. There are a few exceptions to the rule, but I find them really difficult to find keyboard players.
Rare breed.
Yeah. Like I said, all the best ones, they're already married into a band, so...
Yeah.
So, what influenced you to start singing then? Why did you make that leap to that? Because that's... When I started doing vocals, because I actually started playing keyboard and piano and then got onto guitar, and then it was just I just kind of jumped into vocals, but I wouldn't do it on its own without a guitar with me at first. It was terrifying.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I was actually. Now I'm thinking back. Well... When I went to college, I couldn't do flute as second instrument because I was more qualified than the second instrument teacher. So, and I didn't want to start a new instrument at that time. So I did vocal just as I thought it'd be easy. And then I wanted to do cruise ships at some point, and I heard that you got paid a lot more if you could sing and play. So I started singing and playing. But like you, I found that really personal and really terrifying, because if your voice cracks, you can't blame your instrument, it's you.
Yeah.
And I would never sing without my piano. But I have eventually come out of that, like I sing in a trio, I front the trio, but I've not got the voice that I really wanted.
Join the club.
So I sung a lot of wrong stuff for ages, and then I settled into more of a Beverly Craven style rather than Roxette. Roxette were my total influence growing up. I can't sing like that. So I did eventually adapt my style, and then like my first sort of gigs after, well, I played in club bands actually and did backing vocals and stuff like that. But then it was sort of background music in restaurants and hotel lobbies. That was my sort of gig for a good 10 years or so.
Is that something that you just kind of like, you found yourself falling into it, or were you drawn towards it? Was there pictures of Liz that were being offered that makes you think, oh, actually, I'll do plenty of this?
Well, I'd played in club bands, and I realised that was exactly what I didn't want to do. Everything about it, the travelling, the setting up, the gear, the late nights, all that. And I were real, and because this coincided with sort of being really unhappy at college as well, because I just weren't really good at music at that point. And so I set some goals, and I realised I'd been focusing on what I don't want all the time. I don't want to be in this band. I don't want to go to this college. I don't want to play piano. Right, what do you want to do? Well, maybe I want to play saxophone. Maybe I want a gig where I don't have to drive 3 hours. And maybe I don't want to set up all this. Maybe I want to play a grand piano that lives in the hotel lobby.
Yeah.
And my dad gave me this book called The Midas Method. And I really homed in on it. And I set goals properly, and I wrote them down. I was like, I'm nailing this, because everything's just really it at the moment. So I did it. And you'll not believe what happened. They built me a hotel with a grand piano in the lobby in Dodworth, where I lived. I'm not even joking. So the Holiday Inn, it was Brooklands. It opened up as Brooklands. And there was a sign at the front saying, all inquiries, this number. So I rung this number like a complete 12-year-old. I wasn't 12, but I must have come. I didn't know business. I didn't know anything. And they had this lobby with a grand piano, and I had a residency there for years. They were really good.
On your doorstep as well.
On my doorstep. I got everything I set down in them goals.
Yeah.
I'm really big on goal setting because they work.
Yeah. See, I was the same with, like, at first I would like throw myself into everything, travelling around all over, constantly missing, missing like, friends' weddings and, christenings and all sorts of stuff, and you're just constantly away, and it is very tiring, isn't it? I mean, it's great fun, but I come to realise, I don't know if it's just because I'm going to be 40 next year, I thought, I like doing it in bursts and then just coming away from it and then having some normality. I like the idea of being able to go for a walk with my dog in the fields in the day and then play a gig at night, not have to be sat around in an hotel lobby, because it all sounds very glamorous, doesn't it? And unless you're like Mariah Carey's status, it's not that glamorous, is it? And sometimes you'll get nice accommodation, sometimes you don't. Then you've got to kill time in between. There's a lot of travelling in between that, and sitting in traffic or being on a plane or whatever it might be. You've not got your home comforts. It's not the same.
No. Exactly that.
That's why I think some people just get themselves completely out of it and just drink loads while they're doing it. But I don't drink when I play shows or when I tour.
I don't.
So I'm like, I'm really bored waiting right now.
Yeah, I hate waiting around at gigs.
Yeah, it's just that's the killer. I can remember doing some holiday camps when I was a teenager, and it's like you just travel for hours and hours and hours in a van because they're all miles away. They're nowhere near civilization. They're not close to each other. And then when you get there, you're set up by 11, 12 o'clock, and then you're not on till about 8, 9 o'clock. And I'm like, what the hell do we do? And they're like, well, we're going to drink and play Up Bandits. So I'm like, I don't even know how to play Up Bandits. And there weren't really any kind of smartphones back then. It was just still kind of old school. You know, you press a button about 3 times to get an F so you can type.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because I couldn't use predictive text.
I love predictive text. I can still remember what numbers spell what.
I actually could get to a point where because you could feel the buttons, you actually had buttons. I didn't have to look.
Yeah,
so
same.
I could watch TV and I could have a full conversation just with my thumb.
Exactly. I did that. And when I went over to iPhone, I was like, I'm not going to be able to use this because you can't feel it. You're going to have to stare at it to do it, which you do.
Yeah. Yeah, and you still have to do that now. Yeah, it's... There's things I miss. I'm such a dinosaur. There's things I miss about it, but I can remember like just being at those holiday camps and just thinking like, what the hell are we going to do? And everybody else were like 20 years older than me because they'd all been around the block doing it loads, and they were just buying like 8-pint pitchers and just drinking all day. And then you'd finish doing the gig, and then they were like buying loads more to take back to these courtesy caravans, which I'm sure you're probably aware of yourself. If you've never been an artist in a courtesy caravan, they don't smell great, do they? They don't get cleaned as often as the regular customer caravans.
I got bitten to death in one of them.
Yeah, quite an experience. I was like, this caravan smells of weed, and I thought, which is an upgrade on the vomit from last year's, you know. Because that's the thing, isn't it? You've got these people who've just been drinking all day and performing, and then they're making themselves ill in there. But because I can remember I'm not going to name him actually, but I was in a band, and the bass player, he just always wore sunglasses all the time. Some people that may know the guy will probably know what I mean when I describe it. He used to have a briefcase that had all his smoking equipment inside it.
Oh, wow.
Just a full-on briefcase. Yeah, like a proper businessman, sunglasses and a briefcase, just to sit there and I was just like amazed that he never missed a note, could play everything perfectly. And you weren't obviously supposed to smoke inside the caravan, and he set the fire alarm off, the smoke alarm in the caravan, and it wouldn't turn off. We couldn't get it sorted, and we couldn't seem to like figure out how to open it up. And he said, "Oh, I'll sort it." And he just went out to the van and he brought a toolbox, and I thought, "Oh, he's going to take it apart." He just got an hammer out and smashed it off the ceiling.
As you do.
And I was about 18, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's how it works, then, is it?"
Yeah.
So yeah, I got set down the wrong path immediately just watching these idiots. So when did your kind of like live performing begin for you? How did it start? Who kind of set you up in it, or you know, who did you approach?
Well, it started from college really. When I was 16, I joined a club band because the bass player was on the course, same as me. And they needed a keys player. So I joined them, and I was with them the whole age 16 to 18, and then I did various other club bands. So I was very much on the club circuit as a keyboard player. Yeah. Up until I graduated, really. And then I did a year peripatetic teaching woodwind around the schools, which I hated passionately.
You still got tinnitus from it?
All sorts from that. I realised that were really what I didn't want to do. And then I graduated in 2000. I did that till 2001. So just for 1 year, which were enough. And then Brooklands opened in 2001. So I left peripatetic to do that residency. So I was there Monday to Friday. And then I got some weekend restaurant work playing at Ye Old Mustard Pot. I used to play up there. So there were all piano residencies. And then weddings on top of that. Because playing, then people would approach you. Yeah. And book you for weddings. And I did wedding fairs. So then I think my first wedding was a friend of my mum's. And so this friend, she said, "I just want to walk down aisle to this Chopin." And my mum was like, "Oh, Catherine will learn that. She'll play that. No worries. She's great, eh?
I love when people volunteer you for things.
Oh, my God. This Chopin, what were it? A prelude. And it were like massive. You needed banana bunches for fingers. And it were a real, oh, my God. I must have practiced hours, like hours upon hours, weeks of hours practicing. And I said to my mum, so how much shall I charge for this wedding? And it was at Woolley Hall, so they'd got a piano. I didn't need my own piano or anything. And she said, well, you need to be there half an hour before just play background music while the guests are going in. And then you'll play this thing and then for the signing. So you'll only be there about an hour. Shall we say £20? I'd practiced for...
Yeah.
Oh, my God. So they were so embarrassed. They paid me more. They were so embarrassed that I charged 20 quid. And after I'd played that wedding, I was like, oh, I love playing weddings. I can do this. Do you know, I still see that couple. They randomly, because they were from Barnsley, and they just turned up at gigs and they were like, oh, I didn't know you played sax. I said, well, I didn't play sax then anyway, but no, you couldn't have booked me as a saxophonist. But yeah, I thought, this is me. Because I can learn a song, whatever they want to walk down the aisle to, I will learn in some form a piano arrangement. And I thought, this is my forte, I can do this, and I can charge a lot more than £20 as well doing it. So then weddings really took off, and that were my thing. In this area, I was very much the wedding pianist.
I wondered how you kind of got into that, because I see that you do weddings quite regularly as well.
Yeah.
So how do people find you to do that then? Is it just word of mouth now? Because you built up that reputation?
It's social media and reputation, yeah. Yeah, I mean, social media really works for me. More on the sax stuff now. Well, to be honest, I don't play piano that much anymore. It's just all saxophone. That's just taken off because Ibiza saxophone's in at the moment. And then when I do get a piano wedding and I think, oh, I've got to learn all these songs. All the time you spend prepping for it, like the sax gigs are so much easier now. My normal sax gig is playing with the DJ, just freestyling over the top.
Yeah.
No preparation necessary.
Yeah, I've done that before a long time, probably about 2006 or something, or 5, I can't remember when it was. I used to do the club nights around Barnsley. You know, like when it used to be Lacorum before it was the Garrison.
Yeah.
With TJ on percussion.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he used to play in there, and I'd be like in a corner just playing a bit of like funky guitar stuff. And it's great. You just like you say, you just turn up with your gear, plug in, and then you just work out the key quickly to whatever's jumping the DJ's playing, and you just start riffing, just making up, don't you, as you go along, and you start and stop as you want. So
I bet I've seen you do that back in the day.
Yeah, I was probably about 5 stone lighter, and I did like emo hair. Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, like a big full sweep over fringe with it.
No way.
Yeah, just this little stick, looked like a mop with a guitar, basically. But you know, it were because I started in there. The reason I got into doing that was because I was I had to get a bar job for 2 nights a week there. Even though I worked at the time, I used to work in an office for the NHS. I was like 18, 19. Yeah, and and I was someone crashed into the back of my car, and at that time I was like on no money. I think I was on like 800 quid a month, and I had an M-Reg Corsa, my first ever car, that cost £1,100, and the insurance were nearly £2,000 on it. I think it was about 1,700 or something. And someone piled into the back of it, and I had to pay this massive excess, which were like about a month and a half's wages. And I was like, oh my God, like, how am I gonna survive? And it's not quick, is it, to turn it around, even though you're not at fault. So I ended up getting this bar job for about 3 months, working Wednesday nights, which was a cool student night in Barnsley at the time. And I used to work Friday or Saturdays, I think it was. I can't remember which one it was. And then I just gig on the other days. And then when it got to the point where, like, cool, it's all been paid now and I've got my money and everything, I'm sorted, I'll knock this on the head. And I said to the guy, I think he was called Andy at the time, some guy with a shaved head. I don't know if you might have known him or not. And he said, I said, I'm going to leave now. He's like, oh, what are you leaving for? And I said, well, I only did it as a bit of an extra. I play music and stuff. And he was like, well, what do you play? Just general conversation. And it went from that to playing guitar at the Quorum for a while. But that kind of set me off going to different places then. So I can remember like lots of DJs from around that time, who most of which are still DJs. You might know some of those people like Andy Spoff and Nick Parko and Jez and all those. They all were across that scene. So I'd kind of like become pally with a lot of those, and I'd just play at some of those random nights that they used to put on, which then kind of expanded out of Barnsley. Some of them would put stuff on in Wakefield and Doncaster, and then, you know, it was great. You just turn up with your guitar, plumb yourself into the PA and away you went.
Yeah.
Which just felt a bit weird though for me, because I think I kind of stopped eventually, because it was like, I'm just like on this like little circular podium on my own with a light, like a little parkan shining in your face, which weren't ideal because you're trying to look at what you're doing and you're just getting blinded. So every time you blinked, you could see that like fluorescent light glowing in front of you, while people were just dancing around, and some of which probably pilled off their head at 3 a.m. And I was like, it's not my scene, this. I'm like, that's why I started getting into kind of classic rock stuff, really. But yeah, it was just, it was like a whole scene on its own, wasn't it, really?
Yeah, that takes me right back. Some of my first sax gigs then, when I realised I could do this sort of gig, this were like, were it in the 90s or early noughties? And it were with Andy Spar. Somewhere in Barnsley, not Lacorum, like KGV or somewhere. Is that a place? Have I made that up?
That sounds familiar. KGV. Yeah.
I don't know if I were any good, actually. But because I'd learnt on tenor, I bought an alto for this style of gig. And I thought, oh yeah, this could be good. Yeah, I can't even hardly remember. But my first trio gigs were up in Lacorum on the top floor.
Yeah.
They did like a chill out area from midnight. So the gig started at midnight.
Yeah.
And we did like chill out stuff up there, and it were all like settees. And so downstairs were,
yeah.
And then upstairs we were doing this chill out stuff.
I'm wondering if you might have been on the same time as me, because I remember something being on in that. It's like a cocktail bar upstairs, isn't it? With like a little, it's like a hall in the middle of it, see down somewhere.
Oh, outside the little room, I think there is, yeah.
But I remember something happening in there that were a bit more relaxed, and then we did something in the main room, and they'd made like a massive deal out of it all and stuff, and they opened it with it was like a Head Candy version of Dire Straits' Money for Nothing, because they turned that into a funky house version.
Right.
So they had all the big intro going with like with Sting's voice singing and things like that, and then I had to play the intro riff, and then the DJ kicked in, and it were like they made like a big deal out of it all and stuff, and I was like, it's not that much of a big deal, really. It's just but it's because everybody were like, oh, they've made this like really old school rock song into this big club anthem and stuff, which I thought, but they do that all the time. Yeah. And, but they just like bigged it up as going to be this massive moment. And I thought, well, it's a great guitar riff, but I thought it's not absolutely like mind-blowing moment. I'm just literally playing along to an MP3, or a CD, might have been a CD back then. Was it CDJs they used?
Yeah. Which
I can't get my head around. I'm just like, yeah, I mean, people kind of look down on certain DJs and stuff, especially some musicians, but I'm just like, well, I have no idea what they're doing, so it could be really complex for us, as far as I'm concerned.
I know. I've watched so many DJs and I still don't really know what they're doing.
Sometimes I'm not sure whether or not if it's like they are rushing to like get all this stuff set up and then get it EQ'd and beat matched for the next song, or have they just done it and then they're just pretending to make it look like they're doing lots of things. Like when... like if you're ever sorting sound for something, and like someone in a club will come and tell you to do something, turn bass down or do this or do that, and you do that FAT, it's fuck all toggle, and you just go, you pretend to, you turn something that's not even plugged in, it's not even an active channel, and you go, all right, yeah, loads better that, mate, thank you, yeah. You just leave them to it, especially if it's like a punter, because they're sat next to the speaker, they're like, it's too loud that. I'm like, oh, I'll sort it for you. Is that better?
I need to get my amp updated. I've not got one of them.
I were interested actually, what do you actually use for a setup then when you turn up to say like a club night or a wedding? Is it all the same kind of setup, or do you have to modify it slightly for different things?
No, it's really simple. It's about this big in a box. It's called a cloud vocal mic, but it's a sax clip-on mic. And I'm completely wireless. Yeah. And I literally just turn up with this size of my saxophone, and it just plugs into the DJ's desk. And that's it. It's like the quickie. From going from like club bands and then going from piano gigs where I've got 2 speakers, a piano, all the stands and everything, from doing all that to turning up like this.
Have you, are you fortunate enough that when you're plugging into the DJ's equipment, it's of decent quality every time? Or do you sometimes get some unusual bedroom speakers that were probably made by Matsui in the 80s?
It's normally all right. It's just some DJs, they have it they whack some reverb on, and sometimes it just, like with feedback as well, like they don't know it's feedback or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But because I can turn it down on my receiver, I can just lean over the desk and sort of tweak it.
Yeah.
And then there's sometimes where I've had to just turn me right down. And then they start turning their music down because they want people to hear saxophone. I'm like, no, that's not going to sound great. It needs to be balanced. And one DJ, he'd never worked with a sax player before, which is fine, but he thought he was sending me out on the dance floor and cutting his music. Because he thought, he thought I was a sax player and I was doing this 45-minute set just saxophone solo on its own.
Oh, can you imagine?
Like, no, you just carry on. Just play wherever you were going to play. Just carry on, and I'll just play to you. It's like, oh, so shall I turn down a bit? No,
yeah.
I'll sound horrible.
Because it's quite loud on its own anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
So depending on where you're positioned in the room, someone's going to get an earful compared to someone over there.
Yeah. Yeah, but they're few and far between. It's normally all right.
I mean, majority of DJs I meet are nice guys, but I do get the occasional unusual one if I have to do an event that's the DJ's on at, and it's worse if they're a musician as well, or they do a bit of something, because they immediately start walking around me like going, they start talking, like asking me questions about equipment that I've owned for like years, and I'm like, I can't remember specs on this, and it just works. I forgot, I looked when I bought it, it was sufficient. And then they just start talking about loads of things that they've done. They'll tell you all the best stuff that they've done and stuff like that. And it's, I don't know if it's like a try and prove that they're better than you or they know more than you, because they're not here to perform tonight, but they need you to know that they perform. And I'm like, it's brilliant that. And yeah. I just get on with it, and I don't really know what to do with that anymore, because I don't think reeling off things I've done to try and compete is a good conversation that I want to be part of. I'm like, it's just weird this. I'm just here to sing at so-and-so's wedding. This song I don't really know because I've had to learn it for their wedding, and I've got sheets stuck on floor,
Yeah.
because in case I forget where I am. So I just leave them to it. I'm like, brilliant that. Yeah. And it's almost like you're encouraging a kid who's not very good, You're just like going, oh, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of DJs are like frustrated musicians, aren't they?
Yeah.
Because they like properly love music.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I mean, because I see some just stand there and just press play and they just look bored all night because it's just money. Yeah. But then you get others, they're literally eyes closed, lost in music, swaying around like Stevie Wonder. And I'm like, absolutely loving life. And I'm like, you know what? Can't fault him. He's getting paid to love it, Because there are some gigs out there that, I mean, you'll probably know yourself, but you think sometimes there's certain ones that are just a bit of money for old rope, unfortunately, aren't they? In this industry, there are things that we got. I'm so excited to do this show and play, and then there's other things. Sometimes you're like, oh, it was hard to get here. The loading were a nightmare.
Yeah,
the times are not what I've been told. It's all different, and things have been dropped on you. They've put me in an area that's got no plugs, and I'm having to feed wires with a 30-metre extension. Then I've had to drag out the car that's just there in case of emergency. And suddenly it's the main thing. Like if the fuse goes on that, I'm buggered.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's what have you experienced any kind of like big obstacles doing what you do?
Well, last night I was gigging, and it was this awards ceremony, and it had already got off to a bad start because they'd already rung me at 7:20 saying you were supposed to be here at 7, and I wasn't. So I'd already missed like the cocktail hour that they wanted me to play for, but that were nothing. That were never a booking. And then the guy who'd booked me had said, you need to play these stings for the awards, so when someone comes to collect their award, you'll play along with the sting. And that's exactly what he said. So the DJ were going to play the sting and I were just going to play. I said I could do a list just so I know what key it's in, because if I've only got 20 seconds, I need to know exactly where I'm going. I can make a real show of it for 20 seconds if I know the list. Anyway, I never got this list. I thought, it's fine. I got there. 5 minutes before I went on, I went, oh, have you got a list of the stings you're playing? He went, no, you're doing the stings. I went, yeah, I'm playing along with the stings. Have you got a list of no, you're playing them. What, on my own? That, like, everyone's going to be clapping. You need something that goes, and I'm going to be one saxophone going, are you kidding me? He went, no, that's what they want. I said, are you sure? He went, yeah, I'll go and check. So he disappeared. And he came back, he went, yeah, that's what they want. I'm like, I've got 5 minutes. What songs do I know where I can just go in at the chorus in the right key, knowing what I'm doing? What have I got? So I made a list of songs, and I had to, because I thought I'm just going to stand there and then I'll not be able to think of a single song. I know I will. Yeah. So I'd got my list of songs and what note the chorus starts on, because that's really off-putting, just starting in the chorus. I never do that. And somehow I did it. It would have been better with some behind it, but somehow I did it. And so that were a bit cringe. That were really bad. And that were just last night. And then I just did my set with the DJ as normal. But yeah, I've done sometimes at weddings when they want you on quite early, but like for the night do though, and they sit and watch you like it's a concert. So the dance floors, I've got the whole dance floor as my stage because no one's getting up dancing, and they clap as well. Oh, that's weird.
Is it weird because you're on the dance floor? Do you think some of them are like scared, thinking I'm not allowed on the dance floor? It's the sax player's stage.
Yeah. So like then I wander off because I'm completely mobile and wireless. I start walking around the tables, and now it's the weirdest thing, and then that feels like really hard work.
Yeah.
It's much better when the dance floor's packed.
I don't like those kind of places where if there is a massive dance floor and the audience is so far away from you, because I feel like you can't pull them in, you can't involve them. So even if you start doing something that's a bit sing along, dancey type of stuff, especially if you're on your own, you know, like if I'm doing a show at an event and I've got like the iPad's just playing the music and I'm singing, I feel like they're so far, I can't see the faces because the lights and stuff like that, and I'm like. And I try to just make a bit of a joke on it, you know, that they can come out and actually get on that dance floor and stuff, because I just think it takes one person, doesn't it, to be brave enough to just get out in front of everyone else and start dancing, and then eventually people trickle onto the dance floor. But yeah, stuff like that, I'm like, oh, it's just such a basic thing that you could just rectify, you know. I know they want to have a big dance floor, but you should have it laid out slightly differently. But I find that with a lot of places, there's loads of little things that I always think, oh, I would do that differently and it would just make such a difference. But I think a lot of places are set in the ways. Like if you're looking at like a working men's club and things like that, well, we've always done it like this. We've
always done it this way.
Well, you know, lots of things have been done for long periods of time, and it don't mean it were right. You know, look at history. But some places they do kind of listen and go make changes and put a bit of money into things and make a few upgrades here and there. But most it's just like, no, you know, we're going to use this sound system. It served us well for 45 years. Yeah, but something like that. You know, it's like.
And you can't set that up there because Frank sat there for the last 100 years.
Yeah. Yeah, I've talked about that before with people I've had on who play in bands on the club circuit, and it's like sometimes they'll, because obviously when you've got a band on, you're mixing the sound out front. You're not doing it yourself on stage, so you've got to have the desk somewhere. And the amount of times there'll be like 60 tables in a massive club in like Sheffield or something like that, and then they're just going, we can't put the desk there. Why? Well, I sit there.
Exactly that.
Yeah, I'm like, you're the first one in. Just sit on the one at the side of it, yeah. It's probably not going to be any different for you. You're only going to moan anyway that it's too loud.
Oh, God, yeah.
I would hate, actually, to be the sound man in a working men's club, because you see them all coming up to them all the time. Just when I've done gigs before, like they're having conversations with sound engineer, and I can tell that they're just moaning about things all the time.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot you can do, is there? Like, you get certain places and they'll go, them drums are too loud. Like, they're down. They're not even through the PA because you know we don't need to. And like, they literally were like a little bit of kick and snare and a bit of overhead. They turned everything down, and they're still saying that it's too loud. It's like, we've literally turned it down as low as we can go. Well, you need to turn everything else down, but then you'll only hear the drums.
Oh my God.
Well, Why don't you just turn it down overall? No, I'm just trying to explain to you. That will turn everything down on the master. Everything all will go down here, and that means that all you'll hear is drums. It's like, honestly, it's like, I'm like, oh God, you're like thick as a castle wall. It drives me up wall. I'm so much more patient now. But like when I were a lot younger, I'd just be like, yeah, no patience for him, and speaking to him a lot differently. But now you just got to humour it because you know you can't win. So you've just got to just say enough things that'll make them be happy so that they go away. Yeah. You tell them you're going to do things for them. But yeah.
Yeah, it's hard.
But it's not all bad though, is it? We do get like, we don't get like people like that all the time. I would say 90% of the people there, they're all usually out for a good time and they're up for a laugh and stuff.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
you can have some good experiences with it.
Yeah.
So like, have you got any memories of any kind of like times where audience members have been quite nice to you?
Well, like the most amazing gig we just did with Bolden. Do you know Bolden? Jazz House?
Yeah, so, yeah, we're going to go through this at some point because Catherine's got quite a long list of projects that she's part of. Sometimes in rotation, dipping in and stuff like that. So that's one of your projects, isn't it, that you're in? Yeah,
and that it's really taking off at the moment. But we did our first gig in London, and the audience were amazing. I've never seen anything like it. They were proper fans of the music, so they knew all our songs. And jazz house music, there's not many vocals. There are a couple, but they were singing along to non-vocal songs, which we really didn't expect. But they were loving it.
I'm picturing like when someone's really drunk and there's the guitarist playing like the solo in Sweet Child of Mine and the person's air guitaring, but they've got to make the noise of the guitar at the same time. Is it that kind of thing?
No, it was very, very dignified. Because jazz out, like we didn't know what to expect from an audience because you don't dance to it. It's not dance music. So as far as two musicians on a stage with a sea full of fans, what are they going to do? Are they going to stand there? And even we were sound checking at the gig going, how are we going to go down? What are they going to do? Because they're not going to dance. It's not that vibe. They did dance and they danced like very refined and then they sang along and it were crazy. And then to hear, because I'm involved with the production and the composition of all the songs now, to hear them singing back a line that you've written is like the best thing in the world. Yeah. And they were just so into it. It were unbelievable for that genre music. I totally didn't expect it.
I suppose if I'm guessing that's quite a small scene then. Are there many other bands doing that type of thing? Because you're ticking a box for that audience that they're like, oh, brilliant, we can finally go out and watch this. Yeah.
It's a weird little niche because I'd never heard of it. Jazz house, I'd never heard of it. But there's Dublin and Berlioz. They're sort of the two front runners ahead of us. And to say, I mean, I've only been involved in the project since August last year. But Bolden only started from January 24. That was their first release.
Right.
So, like, we're still quite new on the scene, but we've really grown the audience because it's such a niche market as well.
Yeah.
Our target market are like 20-year-olds, which I'm just not familiar with the market. So that's why I didn't know what to expect because I'm asking my friends, what would you do if you stood here listening to this music live? What would you do? And like, well, they're not that into it, my friends. And they're like, well, like you can't sing along, can you? Well, it turns out you can. You can't really dance to it. Well, they did.
So you've got teenage kids as well, so you can communicate with them. Because I'd be like, I don't know what to say to a bunch of 20-year-olds. No idea. They just look at me just like, get off, Dad. You know, what you on about?
Yeah, there is that. Yeah, we don't say much. We did think about how we talk to the audience, but yeah, it's literally, how are you doing?
Yeah. Safe, bruv. Serious G.
Real.
Catch me on Insta. Where can people find the music for that then?
We're big on Spotify and Instagram and TikTok actually.
Yeah.
But not so much Facebook.
Yeah, I've noticed that there's like a lot of more younger audiences you'll just find on TikTok and on Instagram. A lot less people on Facebook from like a younger generation. Obviously they are on there, but a lot more active on Instagram. It seems to be. It's killed off TikTok, hasn't it? Basically, not TikTok, Twitter. Sorry. Because that was, that's God knows what's happening with that. I've not been on there for a long time because it keeps changing and weird things are happening around it, so I'm just not involved.
No, same.
I like to step away from drama, but everyone was obsessed with Twitter, and it was always a thing that, like, if you were over 28, you didn't know what Twitter were. You were like, they'd just join it and put one tweet out going, I don't know what I'm doing, and then they'll never log in again.
Yeah.
And, like, that seems to have just disappeared now. No one seems to be as bothered, and they're all obsessed with Instagram and TikTok, obviously. Which I've got that because I've got it for like the Roxette tribute, and I've got it where I put podcast reels on and things like that. But I'm like, I can't watch the content on here. Like I like Instagram content because it actually shows me things I want to see. Facebook shows me awful things. Like it shows me like fights and bullies and horrible things that just keep coming up all the time from around the world. It's peppered between like Pomeranian videos, but Instagram's like much more wholesome for showing me musical content. Like, for example, like when I was looking online, and I was actually looking for, because as I said, I love sax. I was just looking for sax players, and then you came up, and then I think that was on YouTube, and then I found a video of you playing piano, and then it would just become apparent that you were from Barnsley. I was like, this is weird, but I like to do that on Instagram, and I like to scroll through, and it tends to show me just like 30-second clips of someone playing a guitar, saxophone, piano, and I followed so many musicians because I just love watching that content, and I just get lots of that and dogs, but it's just so much better for me for that. But like when it's TikTok, I don't want to see a 20-year-old just twirling her hair, miming along to a song, dancing about a bit, and then it goes off, and I'm like, what was that? That was pointless. And I'm like, but she's got 3 million followers.
You're missing the whole get ready with me.
Yeah, the getting changed thing. Yeah.
Don't get it.
Yeah. It seems to work better for women than men that I've seen. They all seem to be certain shapes, and it just seems to be loads of guys older than me that's following them. I see this online. Like one of my bands, we played with this band called the Soap Girls, and they kind of I think they're from, could be wrong, I'm thinking it's like South Africa or something like that. Originally, it's two sisters, and then they have a drummer. They play guitar and bass, and they both sing, and they kind of like they stand for like like female rights and all these type of things, and the way that women have been treated and stuff. And they tend to wear very little on stage. But then when you look at the audience, it's just a load of guys that look like me in the audience. And like, I don't think they're here for the message,
Oh, God. Oh.
But I think that's how it has become online, hasn't it? It's like, I'll talk to a lot of musicians, and it's like the effort we put into songwriting and the production of what we've done, the music, the videos, the things that all the stuff around it. And then like sometimes it just goes, no one's actually watching it, and then I'm like, there's literally some girl just getting ready in a flat, and she's got like 4 million views. And it didn't take her that long or as much effort, to do all it. It's like, I had to get dressed for my video. I just didn't film it because no one wants to see that.
Yeah, I kick back a lot on how important that, not that, because obviously I'm too old to be doing any of that. But like, in a couple of weeks, we're flying to Marrakesh for a photo shoot. And we've both kicked, so this is for Bolden, which is only me and Ruben, who's the mastermind of it all. But our manager's like, no, you need to go to this, we need this villa, because the artwork we use for Instagram and TikTok and the albums and everything is a certain type of art, and we need to look like we've stepped out of this villa and the pool and all of palm trees stuff. And we've fought against it because we're like, but we're not going to Marrakesh for a photo shoot. That's the most extravagant thing I've ever heard in my life. Anyway, we are, because he's talked us round, but that it is that important, your image and the marketing that goes into it. You can't just make your music and expect it to sell. It's like any business, if you want it to fly, the marketing around it is, and I just fight so much against it.
Yeah. It's weird how, like, people can't see past image on certain things, you know. Like, I always think it'd be like, I mean, it sounds awful, but it's like, you look at, like, the Chemical Brothers, you know, I'm just going away from, like, a band kind of scene, and it's like, if people saw them sat in pub, and someone says, oh yeah, they record their own music, they like DJ and stuff, people are like, oh, that's nice. You know, they'd probably just ignore them because they don't look anything exciting. They just look like two guys that work in IT, you know. But obviously they've got, like, amazing music, you know. And people are quick to judge based on, like, what you look like. Like when if I enter a new kind of group of people and they'll go, oh, Matt plays music, and they'll immediately just think that I'm like in a Slipknot band or something, and I'm like, oh, I do all sorts of stuff, and it's like, I don't just because I've got skinhead and tattoos and piercings, it don't just mean that I'm just going to scream and talk about killing and things like that, you know, and worshipping Satan and stuff. It's like, I don't think I've ever written a song about that stuff because I don't know anything about it. I'm not interested, you know. But they do. The people kind of jump the gun based on what you look like, and I think in terms of, like, seeing things online, people judge you in that first second. And we were talking about that. I've talked about that before, where, like, if it looks rubbish, they're not even going to listen before you've even opened your mouth. You know, they'll just scroll straight past it. But things have got to look right. You know, they've got to look a certain way. It's got to look polished. People want you to look cool and all this type of stuff. And then, I know it's always kind of been the same, but there are exceptions to the rule. You know, because people used to say, like, oh, you've got to be good looking to be a pop star and stuff. And lots of people, even from years ago, they've gone through, you know, they don't all look like Brad Pitt, you know. Yeah. You've got your Mick Jaggers right up to, like, Lewis Capaldi, you know. Yeah. He's not Tom Hardy, and he jokes about that himself. But he's an amazing singer and songwriter. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, it's hard, and just getting yourself out there and being seen. So, Delightful Music is a company I set up for healing and relaxation music. And when I did my first album, I'd got the concept for the album. It was called Pure Chakra, and each track tunes into each chakra in your body. It's very holistic. And I thought, and it's going to be that good, it's going to sell itself, because it's just going to be real quality music. It will layered up vocals, harmonies everywhere, and it was just beautiful music, which is going to heal your life. Who would not buy it? Everyone's going to buy it. I'm going to be a millionaire, and it's going to be amazing. And I've, like, really slogged that business for 10 years, but I've never marketed it properly. And that is proof in the pudding. The difference between Delightful Music and Bolden, like, Bolden we keep teetering on 1 million monthly listeners. Delightful and Team, it's got less than 1,000. It's like, really. And, you know, the time that went into that first album, I've got 5 albums now, and I'm still not making it. Yeah. It's so frustrating, isn't it? Yeah. I listen to it, actually, because I like to make a point of, because we've got a really tiny kitchen at home, and it's there's no room for a dishwasher. So when I'm washing up, I'll always put something new on, just to check something out. And I listened to it while I was washing up once, and it was got quite a lot because we had a backlog. So I was there a while, and I'm very thorough with it, because I hate when people don't do it properly. And there's still some, like, sauce on a plate, and it goes dried on. And and we're going through, and you seem to have got, like, a variety, because you've got a kids section as well, because it went into that, and that threw me off, because I was like, I'm singing along to the animals coming one by two by two, all this stuff, and I'm like, what's happening? What? And I had to, like, dry one finger with the towel so I could press the screen. Get rid of that. Yeah, I was like, no, just to check out what it was, because I thought it had gone on to someone else, because I didn't know, and I was like, oh, you do this as well? Yeah, I've done kids' songs, there's the nursery rhyme ones, and then there's, like, I was commissioned to write for a nursery, like a tidying up song, a song for sleep, all sorts of different songs to take you through your nursery day, like a nap time song.
stuff about self-esteem, blow your troubles into bubbles. I've written some amazing kids songs. I love it.
So a lot of these, because obviously there are a few that I recognise. So there's a lot of these are ones that you've written yourself as well, then, because I'd not heard those before.
Yeah, I wrote them. Yeah.
God.
I know. Float away when the song to sing preparing for sleep, and then there's music to put on for the sleep. There's music for everything.
Yeah.
And when you have your baby, there's music for every part of your day. What you're doing with your baby, and then Is there like a birthing song as well? I'd put Pure Chakra on for that.
Oh yeah.
The first album, because then all your chakras, everything needs to be.
Could just do some like Yoko Ono style vocals during that. Just go,
That's the sing-along version.
Yeah, no, it kind of like blows my mind really how varied it all is.
Yeah.
The things that you're doing.
I forget.
Yeah.
Where I've done, and I'm like, surely, because I loved doing the kids' songs, and that could be marketed and sold. I'm sure it could.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
But I just lose interest once I've done it.
I think you should get some kind of, even if you got someone to use like AI or someone on, Fiverr, the website, you get someone to do you some little animations as reels and then some sponsored posts. I'm always thinking about marketing and branding. I'm obsessed.
I'm not. I'm just not.
I think a lot of people would latch onto that and they'd start sharing it around to other families.
The biggest market to tap into, like new parents, and people are always having babies. It's like a regenerated market.
Well, that's it. Yeah, it's not going to go out of fashion, that is it?
No, I'm just not doing it. They just sat there.
You need to do it. The work's done now, isn't it? So and that type of stuff, you wouldn't have to do a lot for it, or you could just pay someone else to do it, and they can just do that in the background.
Yeah,
for you.
you see, that's the thing. I'm so tight. I've never paid for marketing or anything like that. But yeah. I did once get a business guy in, and like he saw everything that I'd got. So there's the kids stuff, there's the healing stuff, and then there's the live stuff and all these things, and it was just like, well, where shall we start? I don't know where to start.
Well, it's a different world, isn't it? Because it's like,
it is.
We were talking about like how hard it is in music. It's like you've got to do everything. You've got to be your own manager. You've got to be the marketing manager. You've got to deal with your own PR. You've got to do literally, everything. You're creating content on top of that.
Yeah.
Whereas before you would just like make music, burn off a load of tapes or CDs and stuff, and then literally going around handing that stuff out and flyers and that, and hope that someone takes interest. And that's why image were important then for like flyering, because that flyer needs to be cool, that they actually look into it, because they couldn't QR code things back then and go straight to your music.
No.
They had to actually go and find a physical copy of it somewhere. And I think there's so much, you feel like pressure. It's like so overwhelming to tick all those boxes.
Exactly.
and get it right, really, because you just get lost in the abyss otherwise, because there's so many, isn't there?
Yeah, and I think a typical muso skill set in that way inclined. Mine is not.
But I feel like there's more competition than there's ever been, because musical instruments are far more accessible than they used to be. Mm-hmm. There's so there's so many like cheaper options for people to get started, and the online resources to learn. Yeah. Like now you don't even need a teacher or to pay a penny to learn how to play.
Yeah. You
could learn. I'm not saying it's the exactly the right way, but you could do it and get out there and never have a lesson in your entire life.
Yeah.
And it's great that so many people are jumping on board to do that. But at the same time, I'm like, oh my God, there's just like so many people battling for the same thing now. It's difficult.
Yeah, I think the jazz house niche is a brilliant. I think if you can find your niche and probably home in on that, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You've got to do something that is just so unusual and away from everyone else. Yeah. Like I said, if there's not a lot of people doing it, there's probably someone out there. Like I said, it shows with the attendance in London that there's people that they want those things and they can't find it, because they're all following trends, aren't they?
Yeah.
Which is the online world now, that's what people just do because they're just desperate for your attention, basically, aren't they?
Yeah.
They want the views, they want the likes. So doing something completely different, you are going to kind of shine through, because otherwise, if you were just doing the usual that everyone else is doing, why would they notice you? You know, it's...
Yeah, very small fish in a big pond, yeah.
So can we talk about some of your other projects then that you've got as well? Because it's quite a long list. I'm aware of quite a few of them, but there's probably loads that you do that I'm not aware of as well. So you've got, let me look at my list. So you've got Bolden, you've got a party band as well. It's 77 Live Party Band.
Yeah. I play sax in that.
So that's, is that primarily for like weddings, corporate type of stuff?
Yeah.
Is that something that's going to be like, does that take up a lot of the diary, or is it like a
No.
diary filler type of thing for you all?
Well, I at the moment, I'm not actually taking many gigs on because we're waiting for tour dates for next year. And for like jazz festivals and stuff, I don't want to be booked when there's stuff that I really want to play. But yeah, we've done some really nice gigs. We played for Sheffield United Players Awards last week, which were amazing. All the footballers were singing Valerie and doing a funny little dance all together. It was brilliant. They're really good set of musos as well. Yeah, so that's just another party band. I mean, I am in that band. I dep for other party type bands as well.
Yeah.
Similar thing, yeah.
Yeah, I've got a lot of muso friends who just kind of like dip into the typical, like, standard party band. Like you say, they'll play Valerie, they'll play Killer's Human, they'll do Summer of 69, all the stuff. 'Cause you don't really have to practice. You could just turn up and probably just play it together, you know, and it would just work because everyone has done that kind of standard. So there's about 40 songs that just go in rotation, isn't it? That everyone just seems to play, and it does the job. So that's good. But it's I've seen. Let's have a look. I'm having a look at my iPad here. A Man and His Music, the Frank Sinatra
thing, yeah. So I want to keep my hand in that as well because that's reading music.
Yeah.
And again, it's not easy, and the swing style is totally different. And if I stopped doing like the big band stuff and that, and I just did Bolden, for example, for a whole year, my sight reading would just go. So you got to keep your chops up.
Yeah.
So that's why I still play in big bands and things like that. Like I dep, that's amazing practice. I dep for like Keith Peters' big band, because then you're just thrown in, music's in front of you, it's all really fast, and it's all really hard, but it's brilliant fun, and you've just got to keep. What I want to do is keep the different genres there.
Yeah.
Because you can play in big bands till you're like 80 years old, can't you?
Yeah.
I might not stand on bars playing my saxophone with DJs when I'm 80.
Why not?
I don't know. I don't know why I'm saying that.
To be fair, if I was a 20-year-old in a club and there was an 80-year-old doing that, I'd be like, "Go on, love, yeah." Because there's like I think there's like an age where young people look at people like they go, "What they're doing, they're embarrassing," and then when it gets past a certain age, they're like, "That is so cool that they're still doing that at that age."
Yeah. Well, my kids showed me something on TikTok. This old woman doing something like crazy, and my youngest is going, "Mum, you could do that." I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm not old enough for that to be funny. That would just be cringe because I'm not that old."
There is, isn't it? There's like a bracket, like
Yeah.
I've been talked about this before. Like when I was like 20, somebody were my age, I thought like that they're done, you know.
I know.
And you literally thought like I won't be able to go out anymore.
Well, exactly. So when I was 16 in the club band, the guys were all 40-year-olds. I remember them turning 40, and me at 16 thinking they were really old.
Yeah.
And I found myself, I was playing for a checkered band, and there were me and a trumpeter, and the trumpeter were like fresh out of college, 21. And we were getting on fine, and then suddenly, like, a wave came over me. I thought, I bet he thinks I'm really old. Because I just think we're on a level and we're having banter, but he probably thinks I am so old.
Yeah.
Because I'm older than what them guys were in the first band.
It's like, I don't understand this woman's references. What's she talking about? Who's Morecambe and Wise?
Pretend I ain't got 3 kids. And pretend I'm 23.
Yeah, but you dress really cool when you're doing the sax stuff as well, don't you? You wear like cool outfits and that. You're not. Well, I don't know how old you are, but I think because you don't travel as far away as I do half the time. You look younger than I do.
Is that what it is?
That must be what it is. I've got big bags under my eyes, but I've done some miles.
Well, I'm 46.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
And I know I don't dress like one when I've got my hat on and my sparkly dress. Yeah. But yeah, I know I don't probably look 46.
I think it keeps you young though when you're performing live, because you can play in your bedroom, can't you, and just live off Doritos and watch YouTube all day and just don't matter what you look or dress like. If I do anything that involves working from home in any way, ironically, I look homeless while I'm doing it. You know, with the curry stained t-shirt on, the joggers, you know, some questionable slippers that people think like, are they for adults? You know, that's. But then when you're on stage, you're obviously a bit more image conscious, aren't you? Yeah. So it makes you kind of think like Libby, my wife, does it. Like when we do the Roxette thing, you know. She's like amazing at making cakes and stuff like that, and she's like eating it all. Thankfully she's a fitness instructor, so she burns it all off, but when she knows she's got like a Roxette UK gig coming up, she's like, gotta wear that catsuit when I'm 40, you know, and she starts freaking out. So she's like, right, no sugar, none of this, blah blah blah, I'm doing Stairmaster every day for 20 minutes, isn't it? You know,
she looks amazing.
Well, you tell her because she don't believe me.
Oh, she does.
Wives don't believe husbands when they say it, do they? I always think that like it's a partner thing. Like the guy can always go, he could just tell you a random fact. That can't be true. He's telling,
that.
Oh, but this stranger's just confirmed it. Oh, did you know that? I've just been telling you that. That's what it's like. I don't know why she don't believe me. I'll say, but you look brilliant. No, don't believe me.
Proper amazing, especially as Roxette. It's proper amazing.
See, that we realised as well, didn't we? Because it's the first time we've met in person, but we spoke online, and you went to our first ever gig, which I thought was atrocious because Livy were poorly, and she had a throat infection, and she couldn't actually talk 4 days before we did it, and we'd not had enough rehearsals. There were things that had come in that were like. Just like work-related things for people and stuff, and we were like, we'd missed some rehearsals, and we were like, I see videos of it now, I'm like, so sloppy, and like now it's like well-oiled machine. I'm like,
good. Because I watch it from a muso's point, like I could see the bass player kept having to look at stuff, and I could see stuff.
Yeah,
but it's such a good show.
It's better now. You need to come again.
I will. You played Birdwell again, and then I was gigging, so I didn't come.
We're doing it again this August.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Birdwell?
Yeah. I can't remember. Yeah.
My guilty pleasure.
Is that, everyone says that, don't they? They always kind of like, it must be a Swedish thing, because they say like Roxette and ABBA's their guilty pleasure. But like, I've got like no issue telling like a big group of metalheads at a festival that I love ABBA, you know. I just love them. Like their songs are amazing, aren't they? The genius that how they wrote. I know people can't see past the disco and the glitteriness and stuff like that, but it's like they're such well written songs. They're absolutely amazing. Like those, and like, you know, for me, like stuff like that, and songs by like 10cc and Queen. I'm like, how the hell have you come up with that? Like what? Because I know everyone loves Pink Floyd and stuff, and I do like Pink Floyd, but at the same time, I'm like, some of it I need to be a bit drunk to listen to a full album, because I'm like sat in an armchair just in my own world, because otherwise I'm like, I was talking about prog with you just before we started, and it's like, because it's a bit proggy in a lot of places. I'm like, I appreciate the musicianship, and I love it when that people can play such technical stuff together as a unit. But I'm like, but from like from someone who, say, imagine someone who, I like to listen to stuff sometimes as like not a musician, and it's really hard, isn't it? Because you know yourself, like you said, as a muso, when you watch stuff, you find yourself really like locking in on what people are doing individually, which sometimes can be great, but it kind of pulls you away from the overall song.
It takes magic.
It does. Like, if someone that doesn't know how to play an instrument, sometimes I think they can enjoy stuff better because they just get completely lost in like the message and the vibe of that song, and rather than going like, oh, he's playing so-and-so beat. And, oh, what scale is that? And it's just like you're just going through stuff. And because or sometimes somebody will do something, and I'll like, especially like when I'm talking about funk music before we started, and I said like, they'll just be like, slapping away and then just cracking on, and then suddenly someone will just do a little run, and I've got, what the hell was that?
Yeah. I
need to learn that. That's amazing. I'm like so impressed by it, but it's peppered in good places, and I think prog for me is like, it's lots of them moments, and it's too much. Yeah. There's no like I need a hook now. I need a hook, or I need something to just tap my foot to.
Yeah.
That's why I can appreciate jazz musicians where it's like I can't listen to it. I don't know how to nod my head to it. I'm like,
yeah. Some of it, especially like bebop, when it's too fast, it's just hard to listen to.
Yeah.
And then, but musos are listening to it, go, and then a tritone sub, and then he's gone to the Dorian, and then he's gone, and yeah, it's not easy to listen to. I mean, jazz house is very accessible, it's easy to listen to.
Yeah.
It really is. But like when I first did the jazz degree, and my parents thought jazz was, and you can't, it's too much. That's all they thought jazz was. So, yeah, there are nice bits in jazz.
I've discovered I like smooth jazz.
Yeah.
And we went to Marrakesh, actually. I think it was the beginning of last year. And we went to this place called the Jazz Cafe. And they did have live music on, but while we were there, we were having something to eat, and we're on this like little raised area, and there's like a pool in the middle of it, and it's all really nice, lots of trees and stuff, smooth jazz playing. But as the night went on, and as we got towards like dessert, they started putting this really technical stuff on. And I'd gone from like just nodding my head, having a nice cocktail, to suddenly like being like a Churchill dog, nodding dog, but going over a really bumpy road. And I'm like, it's all over the place. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And I actually said to Libby, I said, we need to go now. And she was like, why? And I said, I feel stressed.
It's enough.
I started feeling like really tight chested. I'm like, it's just making me feel really stressed out, and I don't know why. And I'm like, obviously whatever it is that they're doing is really like impressive, but I was like, like when there's like a horror film build up and they use an old school orchestra and the violins are like 100 miles an hour. I'm like, I just feel really stressed out now. I need to just not put myself through this.
Yeah.
So I just went somewhere else where they got ABBA on. So yeah, it's quite lucky really that I can't get into it, because I don't think I'm capable of playing it anyway. So.
I can't play like that. I don't play like that. But yeah, it is really hard.
What's your favourite kind of music then? Who are like your biggest influences, like for an overall? Because obviously I see that it's quite a broad spectrum for you.
Yeah, because I love all music. I can get into, especially if it's live, I just love all music from like folk to anything. Well, at the minute, it is jazz house. I'm listening to a lot of jazz house because I need to take influence for the new stuff we're writing. And it's just so easy to play over and make it sound good and make something so simple sound so impressive, and, with the production and everything. Because saxophone, when you're recording sax, can sound awful. It can really sound bad. But with a beautiful microphone and a load of delay and reverb and everything else, it just sounds sublime. So we're always going for that sound, and it's just so easy to listen to. Like you don't get that when you're listening to it. It's just beautiful music and really nice lines, and yeah, I really love jazz house. To say I'd never heard of jazz house before August last year.
Yeah.
It's my genre. And it's got the feel-good vibe. It's totally like sunshine music as well. It's totally a combination of everything that I've learned in jazz, combined with like the ethos of delightful music, healing and feel-good music vibes. And it's just culminated in that. It's totally my vibe.
Yeah. It's I listen to a lot more of that, like that kind of ambient type stuff now as I've got older. I think it's sometimes because life can be a bit hectic at times, and when you're playing live as well, there's a lot of noise, a lot of people, a lot of obstacles and craziness, and I think sometimes you just want that calm. I think because like I'll listen to classical music now, and I wouldn't when I was younger. And like I just want something calm. Again, it can't be like classical stuff where it's all erratic.
Yeah.
I don't want movie soundtrack where it's like a fight scene. I want mellow.
Yeah.
I think that's like the type of stuff that they'll have like like in a spa when you're having like a massage and stuff like that. And like it's just calming, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's a lot of Spotify playlists now that people put together where they have them like you talk about them being tuned to different parts of the body and stuff like that. There's certain frequencies, and it's like things from they call them like brown noise, white noise, all these different things, and green noise. It's all this stuff I've never heard of, and I'm like, as soon as it starts, I'm like, oh, I just want to float away. And I'm like, it's amazing, and it's good that stuff's out there now.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people find it quite helpful. Because if I was ever stressed out, I'd be like, right, I need to put some death metal on now. I need to just be like, listen to some really angry stuff and get my feelings out.
Yeah, get it out.
Yeah, and now I'm like, oh, boozer. So you work with some tribute bands as well, don't you? You do stuff with like Carlton Entertainment, Curtis and Kerry and all that. And there seems to be quite a few that you've been playing with. I saw that you'd played like City Hall. Was that last year? Was it last year or earlier this year?
I think it. No,
it's all
I think
moulding
it
into
was
one.
like nearly. I think it was the year before.
Were it really?
Yeah, the Celine Dion thing. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, that were a bit of a one-off, really. I can't. They're touring all over.
Right.
I just couldn't commit to that at all.
Oh, the touring thing again.
Yeah, I can't do it. I just can't do it. Yeah. So the tour. I mean, I am touring with Bolden, but we sort of just do 3 dates in Europe and then 3. We've got a US tour actually, which is probably going to be 2 weeks in November. But 2 weeks is doable, like once a year.
Yeah.
I won't be able to do 2 weeks very regular.
Yeah.
Because of the family life and just because of my lifestyle, that's not what I want to do. But yeah, I don't, and because it's sort of, it's a real passion project. I really love it. And it's my music. It's that not covers. That it's all original.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to them sort of tours, and the Europe dates are only 2 or 3 in a row. So it's really doable. It fits in with my little life. It's not like we're driving to Cornwall and then Aberdeen and all over. 18
months on the road, that type of tour. Yeah. I like that, the dip in and then you go back to a bit of normality.
Yeah.
So it's I'm guessing it's easier now with balancing it with family life now that you said they're teenagers.
Yeah.
How was it when they were younger, managing the music side alongside having 3 kids?
Well, do you know, I just did it, and looking back now, I'm like, you must have been mental. With 3 kids as well. Why did you do it? So I was very much a stay-at-home mum during the day, like before they started school and everything. I'd do the play groups every single day. You know, we were full on 100% looking after 3 kids under 5. So, 4. I'd do all that all day, and then I'd put them to bed, get them to bed, and then my husband gigs as well. So we most likely had my mum and dad come round to babysit at 7 o'clock, and I'd go and play my residency in Holiday Inn restaurant and stuff. But I'd done all the parenting, and I'd put them all to bed, and everybody were tidied away in their own cots, and off I went to do a gig where most parents need to sit down, chill out, watch some trash TV for a bit and then crash. No, not me.
Drink a massive glass of red wine.
Yeah. Never did it. So I did that for years because there's only a 4-year age gap between the youngest and eldest, and there's 3 of them. And then you're up for school runs. Like, school run ruined my life. But I'd already got 3 at that point, so I couldn't give the last one away. But that was just really tragic, having to get them to school on time. Well, when I'd got 2 not in school, getting the eldest one to school on time after gigging all weekend and, you know, having late nights. Yeah, but now we've just come out of the primary school run, so they normally get themselves to school.
The pressure's off. It's just getting them up, isn't it?
No, my kids don't sleep. We ain't got a problem with that.
Oh, okay then. It's all the technology, isn't it? They're wired now, aren't they? Yeah.
Getting them off the screens so that they will go to bed. That's where we're at.
Yeah, I have that problem, to be fair.
With yourself?
With myself. I'm like, Libby will like turn over and go, what are you doing? I'm like, just sending a few more emails. I've got stuff to do. I'm like, she's like, go to sleep. I'm like, oh, I've got to get this done. I've got to edit this and finish.
Yeah.
And I've got like computer, I've got a little office room upstairs in the house where I'll just like do all editing and stuff. I do a lot of stuff down here as well. And then I've got like iPad phone, like just constantly picking things up and doing stuff all the time.
Well, you've got to, haven't you? Because when we're self-employed like this, and a lot of my inquiries come in late at night because people have come home from work, they're scrolling through, they're trying to plan the weddings. That's when they're going to message about your availability.
Yeah.
So I'm always switched on. If I get a message through about an inquiry, I'm on it.
Yeah.
I don't go, oh no, I need to watch telly and chill out now. I'm like, it's a gig.
Yeah. I did doing it yesterday. I did a tea time thing in West Yorkshire somewhere, and I had to do 3 sets with like 30-minute breaks in between, and I was just sat emailing and sorting things out between, and then I'm just like, I thought, well, I'm getting paid to be here. I might as well.
Yeah,
I might as well do it on their time, so because I'm not being asked to do anything else.
That's good time management.
Yeah. I just need to only do it in that time and not like go, 2 in the morning, I need to start sending these emails. I need to be like, early bird gets the worm. Yeah, it is like that with inquiries because they'll probably message a load of sax players on Instagram. Yeah.
And there's lots of us out there. I mean, which is good because we're a good little network of, lots of WhatsApp groups and things of sax players where we're throwing gigs about because there's so many gigs going about.
Yeah, I suppose it's like if you're not available, you'll pass someone else their way to help them out. And
yeah.
It's good for networking, though, isn't it? You seem to know lots of people. It's like just of all different types. It's like 1 minute you're playing under a gazebo in a field somewhere, the next minute you're playing like a massive place or a big club night or like say a wedding. It's just, it's nice, isn't it? Like we said, it's like a gig's a gig, and some of the guys I know who do like session stuff. They'll go and play for someone massive and be paid a hell of a lot of money, and then the day after they're playing in a pub corner. It's like because you just take the rough with the smooth, but sometimes the little things are just as enjoyable, aren't they? It depends what it is.
Absolutely, yeah. Variety is the spice of life.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen that you also. You play with Stephanie Hurst as well, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so like that's all like kind of like the big belters and stuff like that. How did that come about?
Well, she's a friend, so she just asked me to play. Like we became friends when we met at some mayor's thing I was playing at, and she was hosting the whole evening, and we ended up on a table together. So all the like celebrity type people.
Yeah.
we're on one table. So we were there the whole night and we were just all night. And then she was like, oh, I need to get up and speak. We had such a good night. And I did my bit and she was doing her bit. So, and then we just became friends after that. So that was years ago. And so now she's just a friend, like a proper friend that we go out and have lunch and stuff. So when she puts the gig on, if she has a sax player, because she plays the proper vinyl because she's a proper DJ. And when you play vinyl, it's not always in tune. So it's a bit of a, this one's flat, this one's and it's a bit of a nightmare to play along to. So she don't always have a sax player for the vinyl stuff because that's really hard to play along to.
Yeah, I discovered this with there's a few songs every now and then that there's a couple of AC/DC songs. There's actually a Roxette song called June Afternoon, and it's like tuned. It's somewhere in between. It's not. I can't remember if it's too sharp or flat, but you can't tune up a semitone or up or down. Either way, it doesn't sound right in either three of those. I'm like
in the middle.
I'm like, it's so hard to practice to because it's just so off-putting, and I don't really understand or know why that's ever happened, really. But
no, I don't really. There's some like lady, hear me tonight. That's out of tune, and DJs play it with auto tune on, but the track is out of tune. So as soon as that comes on, I know this is terrible.
Yeah, play really quiet.
So what I'm doing here is, in my imaginary saxophone here, I'm pulling the head out to make the saxophone flat so that it's in tune with the thing, because that's how you tune your saxophone. And when some of there's three, there's lady, they've all got that similar sort of sound, and they're out of tune. And it sounds horrendous if you don't change your tuning, get in tune with it. It's the worst thing.
Yeah.
I think there's a guy online and he does videos where he'll play along to songs where he'll auto-tune the vocals so that they're ever so slightly out, or he'll put like a semitone out. Because if someone's tone deaf on a karaoke and they're just nowhere near the key, it's kind of just like funny and people just get on with it. But it frustrates me more when it's nearly there and it's not quite there.
Almost.
So he plays videos. He'll do like, I think he did one at Christmas when Mariah Carey's Christmas song, and it's like he were playing a different tempo, but it was still in time or something. But it still kind of matched, but it kept kind of falling behind so many bars, and then but the vocals had been tuned a semitone down, and it just went on, and he's like, he does all these videos where he does them like that. They've got loads of views because they're funny, but at the same time I'm like, oh, I feel so stressed because it's like,
but he's doing it like clever. He's clever with it.
It's because he's so good. It's that kind of like Les Dawson where he plays plays terrible on purpose
because he knows the exact note that's going to sound horrific at that point. He was so good.
Yeah, you got to be that good to play that bad.
You have. Absolutely. He was so good.
I've seen that you also do like collaborations, just like you said, like almost like one-offs, recording with different artists and stuff. So how does that kind of like materialise? Do you just get asked? Or?
I just get asked. I've just done one actually for a rapper. Oh no, a rapper passed me on to this guy, a total different genre of music as well. And it was just like he sent me a reference track. I just want this sort of thing over the thing. And I've got a home studio, so I do sessions like that really easily. I love doing that because it's just a different type of music, and it just literally says, just play what you want, just do it 3 times, and I can pick then what to take from it. Easy peasy, I'll do that. Love it, love it.
So do they just give you free rein and just play over that section, or do they have certain things in mind that they ask you to do?
This one that I've just done, it just sent me a reference track, which was just freestyle, do what you want over it. And that were nice and easy. Sometimes if there's a bit of like if a horn section, that's more intricate, because then you've got to play it exactly right. Usually I do a 3 or 4 part harmony over tenor sax and alto sax as well. So, and then that, I usually write it out actually, so I know I'm playing the exact same thing. And well, I've got to write it out to work the harmonies actually, because I'm just theoretical like that. So if I'm doing a 3-part brass section, a horn section thing, but on my own 3 times, that's a little bit more involved. But I love horn section stuff as well, which is totally different to the like freestyling just a solo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a different world to me, that, but I love it, because I when I do like solo gigs, I'll do everything, like all styles of stuff. I'll be singing like, Frank and Dean Martin, Gene Pitney, and then I'll do some heavy stuff, I'll do some dancey stuff and all that stuff, and I absolutely love all the swing stuff. I've never because I don't know anybody that plays all that type of stuff, so I think like it must be a nightmare trying to put a band like that together, because there's always someone who plays a bit of guitar, isn't there? There's always a drummer around, and they're all in like 6 bands a piece. But finding all those musicians that play all those type of instruments, it must be just crazy. It's hard managing a diary for 4 or 5 people, isn't it? To try and get availability for rehearsals, recording, travelling, and doing gigs and stuff. But for that many, there's so many moving parts. And
exactly.
I don't know. I genuinely don't know how you all manage all that type of stuff.
That's harder than making the music. Just the logistics of getting everybody in one room together, rehearsing, gigging, and then inquiries coming in. Nightmare.
Well, it's like that with friends, isn't it? We're just trying to organise a night out, and it's like, well, it looks like we're all not seeing each other for 4 months then.
Can't get a babysitter that night. Yeah.
So when it was over the past 5 years, then coming up from like lockdown hitting, how did you find that as a muso?
So before lockdown, the majority of my gigs were keys, piano, vocals, solo stuff, weddings. Then lockdown hit, so obviously all that stopped. I did a couple of online gigs and stuff like that, and I taught it more at that point as well, and so I was teaching online. It weren't great.
Yeah.
I didn't really like the online gig because it's just weird. It was just weird. So I started networking. I did a lot of online networking. I mean, it saved me sanity because I'd got 3 kids I was trying to homeschool. They were all primary school age. It was a nightmare. And we were in the middle of a renovation. Luckily, we'd just moved back into the house because we'd moved out, turned the bungalow into a house, and we'd just moved back in, but it weren't finished. And then when lockdown hit, we couldn't get plasterers. And so we were living in half a house.
Yeah.
And so I escaped by doing networking, and I did it internationally. I've networked in Toronto and all over. And I started out networking the delightful stuff because I thought if everyone on these networking meetings if I introduce them to delightful music and they have it on while they're working or for healing and relaxation, if they all put this on, get them through lockdown, create this calm environment, if they've got kids, you can turn what you've had, your workspace, into homeschool your children like that with some delightful music, turn it into bedtime setting, because that were really challenging as well. And so that's where I started plugging. And then literally 2 weeks into networking, someone said, so do you make the music? Yes, I do. Could you make us a podcast theme tune? Yeah. Yeah, I can. And so that just quickly evolved. And then all of a sudden I would go into the same networking meetings saying the word audio branding, which I'd never heard of. I can do your audio branding. I'll do your call waiting, your podcast theme tunes, anything you need for your business, your advertisement music, background video music, all this. It'll all be matched and with your business and put together, that sort of package. So I started doing a fair bit of that were really different, and I loved it. And I thought, I need to keep my hand in this. I like it, but the Bolden stuff, if I'm in the studio, I'm doing Bolden stuff, it's taken over.
This is you that said that you didn't know how to do branding and marketing, and you're there smashing it by the sounds of it.
Well, they then have to put it all out there. I do my bit. I can only do music. That's what it is, Matt. I can't do anything else.
Can't talk to the people.
No. I don't get it. Target market, what?
So is that's the thing that kind of like just the way of surviving then through lockdown, I would say then, because it's something you could just do from home.
And because I lost all the gigs. And then when it started opening up where you could have 10 people in your garden, I tended to get a lot of hen parties for some reason in people's gardens. And I could do that. I'd got all the kit to do that. And it was through lockdown that I really got good on saxophone, really. Like I could get away with it, and I was doing a few sax gigs, not many though, it was mainly piano. And then through lockdown I did a lot of recording, really refined my sound. And because of what I was putting on social media, I was getting these gigs in people's gardens all over. And then I was just taking all the gigs because we'd got no money to finish the house off because we'd lost all our gigs. And I just took all the gigs.
So, would you say the industry's bounced back now as for a live scene, or is it noticeably different from before 2020?
Well, from where I sit in the scene, yes, it's very much bounced back. But I know a lot of bands, and like I don't know. I don't think it has for everybody. If you were in a different niche of I don't know, pub bands, club bands, I don't know if that's bounced back for them at all. I'm not sure. But I think saxophone just took off in that time.
Yeah.
Ibiza sax just became a thing. I'm sure it weren't that big before lockdown.
I've always liked it. There's that, she's called Lovely Laura, isn't she? Yeah. And I've always liked it from around, probably from the days when I used to listen to like Funky House in like 2003 to 2007.
People didn't book that for the weddings, did they?
Not really, no. And then I thought it had kind of disappeared because for a brief time, electro music came in, which then turned into all that stuff that was, I can't remember what it's called now. It was just so over the top with electric stuff. I forgot what the DJ's called. Is it Skrillex and all that stuff?
I don't know.
It was just like so just crazy type. I don't even know how to describe it, but it was just such bizarre electronic music. And then I never really saw anything about sax players for a while.
No.
That kind of came and went, and then it's just kind of gone back to real instruments again being popular, and a lot of like dance and house music has still got, you got your you've got some good piano sections and all the like string sections and your sax and all that. And I feel like it has like jumped back in again.
Yeah.
Which is why I obviously I found yourself, a few years ago, and I was like, it is really popular, and everyone now does respond in a way they'll like go, oh yeah, there's a sax player playing at this, like, because it's an exciting thing, just part of that event. It's almost like it's the focal point of the event. Everything's kind of around that now. Whereas, like you said, there was a time where no one said, oh yeah, we've got a sax player at his wedding or at his corporate event. No one like really said anything. They'd just got a band on or a singer or whatever. Yeah. So you've become, hopefully not like the flavour of the month, but hopefully you're going to be, the preferable one for the future. Fingers crossed.
Well, I'm sure it's a wave, and I need to ride that wave while it's here. Till flute takes over.
I think there were kids at my school that did like doing like not flutes, like recorders and stuff. It was like a thing that everyone had to do.
Yeah.
And everyone's like blasted out Three Blind Mice and stuff like that. There wasn't really a lot, like, I don't know how your school was, but like the music side of my school wasn't great.
Was it not?
Not at all.
Well, I went to Kingston School, and our school band was phenomenal.
Oh, there was no such thing as a school band for us. We never had like concerts on. We've got a beautiful big hallway and a big stage, and I always used to think when I was like 14, thinking, oh, I'd love to have a band together and just perform for the school and stuff like that. And no one ever pushed for it. No one said anything about it. They'd have a music class, which there were no instruments in that room, and then they had another room that was locked that had some keyboards in it with headphones. And then occasionally they'd get a guy to come in and teach you guitar on nylon string classical acoustic guitars, and just basically have you in groups, which I think is a terrible way to learn, because they've not got the time to commit to you to do it in big groups of people. Because it'd just be like, someone's really struggling with like a B minor because they can't bar it and bend their fingers, and then they'll just go, yeah, you've got it, and then just move on to the next person. It was just like an afterthought, really. Yeah. And from what I could see, I don't think there's been a lot of people especially from like the year I was in, there's not a lot of people like came out doing music.
No way.
Whereas now you'll have like 50 people in each year as a minimum, just doing all sorts, whether they're rapping or producing music or they're playing or whatever it is, and there's very little of that from what I can see online, based on, because they're not unless they're doing it and not posting about it, I'm not sure. But
who does that? Who does anything and doesn't post about it?
Yeah. Look at the avocado on toast I made, So what's your plans then for the rest of this year? Is there anything notable coming up that you're excited about?
Oh, or? Yeah. Bolden's taking off. Oh, well, it's taken off. We're there, really. We've got the European tour. We've got like 3 dates in September, 3 dates in October. Yeah. And then a 2-weekish tour, North America in November. And depending on how that goes, will dictate the type of stuff we get for next year. Yeah. But we're in the studio twice a week anyway. Yeah. We release the last Friday of every month. That's sort of the plan going forward for the foreseeable. We always have a release out on that last Friday of the month. So that's like just a cog that needs to keep turning. It don't turn by itself. No. And luckily, I'm just involved in the music making. Ruben very much is the business head of it. He's what's made it succcesssuccessful, without a shadow of a doubt, because of all the...
It's a team effort.
Thanks, but I know. I know it's Ruben. So yeah, that is my main thing, really.
So everything else, when you know what's going on with that, then for next year, everything else will kind of piece itself into the puzzle around it.
Yeah, because I'm turning away lots of work for next year, because obviously weddings are never last minute gigs. You booked a year in advance. Yeah. So all the inquiries I'm getting, I'm having to say, I can't secure your date. Ask me closer to the time. If I'm free, I'm happy. I'll definitely do it, but I just can't secure your date. So obviously most people are going to go and book someone else, so they've definitely got someone. So I know I'm losing a pile of work there. Yeah. And I've worked so hard to get to a level where, I've got the inquiries coming in, I've got that presence online and everything else.
You're the go-to.
And now I'm turning it all away. So the plan for next year will be last minute gigs. So don't hesitate to call if you need a last minute sax player. If I'm in the country, I'll probably do it.
Yeah. So based on statistics, you know, if Catherine can't play your wedding, you know, she can play your next one. So
I've done second weddings.
Possibly, yeah. So I always like to end the podcast asking you what advice you would give to your younger self.
Ooh, wow. Oh, that's hard, isn't it? That's hard. Like, I wish I'd played sax. I wish I'd got good at sax earlier. Now I know that how fun it is to play. But if I'd have started it earlier, I wouldn't have taken the same route as what I've taken and ended up where I'm at. So I don't know, would I?
Scary, isn't it?
Yeah. The old cliche of I won't change a thing.
Back to the Future, you can't change. If you change something, then it has massive impact on what's happening in the present.
What would I? I don't know. I really don't know, because I don't regret all the club band, which was so hard, and you know I really, and the jazz degree I didn't enjoy at all, but I'm glad I did it. Just stick with it. Just stick with it, Catherine. You're doing all right. Just stick at it. It's all going to come good. Get through it. Yeah.
Oh, that's quite good, because most people, they've always got something where like the massive regrets or things that they've made mistakes on when they were younger. It sounds like you may have done it all right from the beginning.
Well, I don't know. I made a pile of mistakes with Delightful Music for what I put into that. And I had a web page done and all that, but I didn't know what I was doing with it. I probably wasted a lot of time and money on Delightful Music because I was really passionate about it, and I just thought, and then I just gave all my money away. Like I'd meet a mum at playgroup and she'd be like, I'm really struggling with my baby. Oh, I'll just give you a CD. So I just gave the music away. I'd just do that. Yeah, I could have probably made Delightful Music something.
There's still time.
Well,
if you've got time.
I don't regret not doing it because it's allowed me now to focus on Bolden.
Stepping stone. It's just sometimes there's certain things you have to do and you don't realise why you've done them, but they've led to something else, haven't they? So
yeah, and I refined that. Was my first recording stuff that I did properly and made an album to release. So the harmonies, all the vocal stuff, contrapuntal stuff that I was doing in there, I learnt a lot. So now when I need to do harmonies for anything, I can quickly harmonise with myself and triple track it spot on. I've got really good at just doing backing vocals spot on and refining that.
So there's exciting stuff coming up then, isn't there? In terms of original music.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's nice to hear, because like I said, there's some people have really found it difficult after lockdown. You know, kind of getting back into it, but it just sounds like you've hit the ground running again. So you have to, don't you, to survive?
Yeah. Yeah, and original music is really hard, isn't it? Because a lot of musicians do what they do professionally for money, and then the original music's always a side thing that they're not getting paid for, and they're going out and gigging for peanuts because the original music scene's just not
for
well
the exposure.
Paid. Yeah.
Or the money that when you do well and certain amounts of money comes in, a lot of the time it reinvests into the band, because the next thing you're going to do is going to cost money, and a lot of people don't realise how expensive it can be to, when you're creating certain things.
Yeah.
You're not just turning up and playing a show. You've recorded, you've made videos, you're funding everyone travelling around.
Yeah.
Because people think, it's great travelling around and getting paid to do that, but then there's all the costs. Costs you a fortune to get anywhere these days, doesn't it? So I think you get a flight to Spain for easier than you can get a taxi to Leeds from here. So, which, to be fair, I'd choose the weather. Well, thanks very much for coming in and having a little chat with me. It's been nice to hear about the stuff that you've been getting up to and the things that's coming up. It's quite exciting. So I'll put all the links to everything that Catherine does that we can find, if there's room, in the description, because she's very, very busy. But if you're looking for someone to come and play sax at one of your events, then get in touch with Catherine, because if she can't do it, she knows about 10 people that will. So
absolutely.
Thanks very much. Good luck with it all.
Thank you.
See you in a bit.